I turn down Rhee's offer of help to get to my room. Every bone, every muscle, every fiber of my being aches. A heartbeat before I reach for my door handle. I feel it. The familiar midnight-tinted shadow wrapping around my mind. Relief courses through me as I push open the door and see Xaden leaning against the wall between my desk and my bed, looking ready to kill someone as usual, his arms folded over his chest. It's been 8 days.
I know.
He pushes off the wall and crosses the room in a few steps.
From what Taryn showed Sorrengail, I should have told my commander to fuck off and gotten here sooner.
He takes my face in his hands in a way that feels completely different from the way Emetario had earlier, and the rage shining in his eyes is at odds with the gentleness of his touch as he takes stock of my injuries. The blood is his.
Good.
His jaw flexes as his gaze drops to the bruises I know are around my neck. I don't even know what his name was.
I know.
His hands fall away, and I immediately mourn their loss. Colonel Atos sent him.
I'm sorry I couldn't kill him first.
The first year? Or Atos?
Both. Let's get you clean and wrapped up.
Can't go around killing cadets. You're an officer now.
Watch me.
Hours later, I sit cross-legged on my bed, bathed and choking down the bowl of soup he brought up for me from the mess in the main campus. Every swallow hurts, but he's right. I can't afford to weaken myself by not eating. What's it like at Samara?
Look at you, asking questions.
A corner of Xaden's mouth rises as he leans back, taking over the armchair in the corner of my room, sharpening his daggers on a strap of leather. He ditched the flight leathers while I was in the bath, but he somehow looks even better in his new uniform. I can't help but notice he didn't add patches to this one, either. I'm not fighting with you about your question game tonight. I spot the 2 books Jacinia loaned me on the shelf next to him. Any thought of telling him about my research disappeared at his reminder that I'm not granted the full truth when it comes to him.
Wanting to ask what you want to know isn't a game. You and me? Not a game. Samara is different.
One-word answers aren't going to cut it.
I have to prove myself all over again at what's arguably the cruelest outpost we have. It's annoying.
I crack a smile. Leave it to Xaden to be annoyed. Do they treat you differently?
You mean because of this?
He taps the side of his neck with the flat of his blade, touching the relic. Yes?
I think the last name does it more than the relic. The older riders are easier in Garrick, which I'm thankful for.
I'm sorry.
It's nothing worse than what I expected. And my signet's enough to give most of them pause.
He puts the leather strap into his rucksack, then sheathes his last blade as he stands.
You know what it's like. People judge you by your last name all the time.
I think it's safe to say you have it worse.
Only within the borders.
He flips my armor over, where it's drying on the back of my desk chair, then crosses the room to sit on the end of my bed. It's not as big as his was last year, but there's room for both of us if I ask him to stay. Which I won't. It's hard enough to be this close and not kiss him. Sleeping next to him? I'd break for sure. Fair point. I put the bowl on my nightstand and pick up my brush, my gaze drifting to the door. Vi, can I... Huh? Did you ward my room from visitors before you left?
It's warded against sound, too. One way, of course. You can hear what's going on out there, but they can't hear what's going on in here. Figured you might like your privacy.
For all the people I can't bring in?
You can bring in whomever you want.
Really? I drag the brush through my damp hair, because Rhiannon tried to walk in and ended up on the other side of the hallway.
Tell her to hold your hand next time. The only way in here is by touching you.
Wait, so you didn't ward it for only you and me?
It's your room, Violet.
His eyes track the movement of the brush through my hair, and the way his fingers curl in his lap makes me swallow. Hard.
The room is warded to let in whomever you pull through. And selfishly, me.